Um, Today, basically, it's an opportunity for us to meet all of you and also to introduce to you Pakistan. The sequence would be that I'll just request Naveen to say a few words, and by that he has made sure that literally it will be very few words. He has made it very, very sure many times. After that, I request the Shahji Affairs, the acting ambassador, Dr. Asad Majid Khan, to speak to you. That will be followed by a documentary on Pakistan titled Vibrant Pakistan, and that will be followed by a few clips which would show achievements, accomplishments of some of the youth leaders from Pakistan. I can just run through the titles. The first documentary is on first Pakistani female combat-ready fighter jet pilot, Aisha Farooq. The second one is on Ali Moin Nawazish, who broke the world record about a couple of years back by passing 23 A levels. The third one is on Samina Beg, who recently, about a couple of months back, became the first ever Pakistani female mountaineer to conquer Mount Everest. And the last one, last clip would be on Uzair Awan, who is now the youngest ever Microsoft certified professional at the age of 7 years. This will be followed by a very short, small clip on Pakistani fashion show, basically showing the Pakistani bridal dresses. And in the end, we'll finish with a song which basically is a fusion of Sufi and pop music from Pakistan. And in the end, there will be an exchange of souvenirs also. So with this very brief intro, let me now invite Naveen to speak and to say a few words.
Good evening, Acting Ambassador Dr. Khan, Mr. Bokhari, everyone else from the Embassy of Pakistan, and my fellow Rotarians. Welcome to the Embassy here. My name is Naveen Valyapan, the Conference Director. Our youth participants at this year's conference represent 35 nations around the world, and we're here almost a week long from July 2nd through the 7th, attending different workshops and leadership sessions and how to make their clubs more better, more involved, and how to make the world a better place. So that's why we're here in Washington, D.C., and we hope to make the best of it, and I want to thank you again for hosting us this evening. Thank you.
I just forgot to mention that the group has already been to the Jordanian embassy and they have already interacted with the ambassador of Estonia. So this is the third interaction. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to request the Shahji Affairs, Dr. Asad Majid Khan.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the Embassy of Pakistan. And it's really very energizing to see such a large group of young leaders from across the world. And young leaders who are out to change the world. Change the world for better. So we are indeed very happy and delighted to welcome you here at the embassy. And I can imagine that I think Naveen and his team has already made you go through a lot of work already since morning. So I'm not going to make your agony longer than what is absolutely essential. I have a long speech in front of me. I don't want to subject you to that. And sometimes they say that the images are more powerful than the words. And this evening, perhaps, we will rely more on the images rather than words. But I would like to avail this opportunity to thank Naveen for bringing this group, which is the youth participants of the Youth Leadership Awards Conference here in Washington. This is really something that we are, in terms of reaching out to the youth, is a key priority for this embassy also. And we have over the last 2 months organized a number of activities which essentially are designed to reach out to the youth here in Washington in terms of introducing to them the entrepreneurship opportunities that we can explore with the United States and Pakistan, in terms of offering a course on understanding Pakistan. When we first introduced that course, the first Twitter comment that I received on that suggestion was that instead of offering only a certificate course, the embassy should actually offer a PhD course on Pakistan. Because sometimes understanding countries can be very difficult. But I can tell you that this was a great experience in terms of looking at your own country through the eyes of someone else. And they, through their questions, in fact, exposed and introduced to us the dimensions of our own country, which we were not very familiar with. So perhaps, when we introduce, because really our challenge, unfortunately here is that somehow Pakistan has come to be associated only with the bombs and bullets, which is anything but what we are. Many people understand and appreciate that we are the 6th largest country in the world. We are one of the largest democracies in the world. We are one of the largest Muslim countries in the world. We are actually the 7th largest English-speaking country in the world. We are a nuclear power. We are one of the top 10 producers of cotton, of sugar, of milk, and we have very robust civil society, vibrant civil society. We have a completely independent judiciary. We have a media, which in our own system sometimes we joke is Fox on steroids. In fact, thanks to all these changes that we have seen in Pakistan over the last, I should say, decade or more, that we just witnessed the first democratic transition in Pakistan, where one civilian government passed the baton on to another civilian government. And we witnessed an electoral process which many thought would not come to a successful conclusion. It was an electoral process which was very widely observed. It was transparent, it was fair, and it took place in an environment which in some ways was also the most violent election in the history of Pakistan, where those who stood for violence challenged the government of Pakistan that they are going to run the streets of Pakistan with blood if anyone came out to vote. And yet, despite that challenge, record number of people came out to vote. It was 56%. In the United States, you had 57% of turnout in the last elections. We were just short by 1%, and I assure you, with the level of violence going down, we'll probably be higher than even the United States. So this is the change that we have seen, and clearly the people of Pakistan voted against violence. They embraced democracy. They voted for good governance. And these are the things really that you are, I'm sure, striving for also in terms of your quest for making this a better world. And I can also say that Rotary and Rotaract, it is a household name in Pakistan. We have Rotary clubs in almost all major cities of Pakistan. And in fact, the Rotaract club alone number close to about 63. So I was kind of struck, and and I'll say this honestly, to see no Pakistani, perhaps I don't even see any Indians or not too many South Asians, so perhaps you are covering another part of the world. But I can tell you that I have grown up being part of the Lions Club activity and the Rotary activity. And something else that I want to share with you is the fact that, in fact, Pakistan, as per this survey, the World Killing Index of 2012, actually, which was prepared by charities, aid foundations, and it ranked Pakistan amongst the top 10 nations that are good at helping strangers. And Pakistan is probably the only country in the world that has hosted the largest number of refugee population for the longest period of time. Clearly, over 3 million refugees for the past over 4 decades. We have provided them with homes and hearths on our lands. We have had, unfortunately, more than the usual share of disasters, be it in the 2005 earthquake or the 2010 floods or the 2011 floods, and where people came out. So this commitment and devotion to community service, the commitment and devotion to charity, to philanthropy, things that the Rotary, the Lions Club, and some of the other entities stand for, is clearly visible in Pakistan. And this is a share that this is a trait that we share with what you stand for. So in that spirit, I welcome you once again this evening. I thank you very much for choosing this embassy as part of your stopover. I can assure you that even if the movie is not going to be spicy, the food is indeed going to be spicy. So you hold your breath first for the movie and then for the food. Bukhari Naveen has just introduced you. And I'll be available, after this movie, which we have tried to make as compact as we can. I'm sure it may give rise to many questions also. So I'll be available to answer any questions that you may have. We will have either speaker, one or two, that you will be able to use while asking questions. Thank you very much once again.